demand from workers is that they need a 20% increase. But there's an opening of R3.22, which is not part of the 20% demand. It's as a result of the wage model that exists having been distorted. What Toyota did, they actually paid a particular layer of employees who were on staff. They gave them a particular amount, and workers, they firmly believe that they deserve to be paid as well, because there can't be any layer of management that is being paid because of some generosity on management, and then you do not pay the rest. And as a result, if you remember last year, there was a strike in relation to this matter. And Toyota basically agreed to settle the strike by R3.22. The rest of the industry, because Toyota is part of collective bargaining, have then said, look, you have distorted the wage model, that must be corrected, and then we should be bargaining. And maybe that question, and that's how R3.22 comes about. And I think somebody was asking, what is going to be your posture? Are you going to strike? Is it a protracted strike that you're going to take? First, I think it is important to make employers to understand and to make everybody to understand that we have got a very solid mandate from members to approach negotiations, not for the sake of the table, but for purposes of negotiating in the interest of our own members. The call we're making to employers is that we don't think that they should approach these negotiations from an in-transition point of view. We should come to negotiation with open cards. And for us, which is something we've prepared our members as a framework, we said we want a living wage for our members. But the second thing that this negotiation must be about, it can't just be about money. It must also be about the future of the industry. So our cross-cutting issues that you are talking about, they seek to do a couple of things. They seek to implement the Freedom Charter, which in our view, if you're serious about manufacturing and industrialization, our own government need to take ownership and control of strategic minerals, strategic assets of the commanding heights of the economy, and to use those to ensure that we champion manufacturing and industrialization in the country. Because we think that it's high time that we need to reverse the high levels of deindustrialization that have taken place. We are quite aware that employers are joining the chorus of thinking that the solution, to the extent that there is a global crisis of capitalism, that things are tough. They think that the solution is basically to tighten the belt and then to attack the actual wages for workers. We don't think that that's a solution. We think that the solution is for employers to appreciate that what they did as employers and what government did have led to this particular crisis, both in the country, globally. You would remember that what government did was basically to liberalize trade, allow dumping into the country, which have destroyed many jobs. And when jobs are destroyed, buying power is destroyed. We have removed capital control. We have allowed money to leave this country in capital flights, both legally and illegally. We have championed inflation targeting at the back of high interest rate that basically destroyed jobs. And when you target inflation, you keep high interest rate, it says a lot about what is your posture and your support to manufacturing and industrialization. Employers in the point of production, they actually furthered those aims that destroyed the jobs. What they did was to champion continuous improvement, was to champion competitiveness, was to restructure the workplace. What was the bottom line of all those management techniques? It was simply to ensure that we reduce cost And what was targeted as cost to be reduced was labor cost. And as a result, we shooted up volumes of production, but on the other hand, we destroy buying power because we retrenched workers across various sectors. The chickens have come home to roast. That Washington consensus agenda globally have crashed. Today in the world, we're not sitting with a challenge where people do not need products. People still need products, but there is no buying power because we've destroyed that buying power. We think that South African business people who make money in this country, it's time between them and government and ourselves to say, how do we champion and build manufacturing in this country? What measures are we going to take to actually revisit those wrong decisions and choices we've made and ensure that we basically champion manufacturing? If we do that, we will employ more people, and those people must be paid a living wage. By so doing, we will basically be ensuring that ourselves, we have got our own homegrown solution to resolve the crisis, the triple crisis of poverty, unemployment, and inequalities. Whilst we must then find a way of how do we engage with the global environment which we are part of. So that's a kind of the approach we will be taking to employers into the negotiation. But employers would have to disclose, employers would have to be honest, and our demands are not cast in stone. They constitute a mandate to our own members, and we will be going into the negotiation with positive mind. Are we going to approach negotiations purely for strike and so forth? Yes, as a union, we mobilize our members, but you must appreciate that we understand if there's one thing that we did in the bargaining conference was to paint the picture globally and in the country. Of course, as a union, we take a very firm view that workers cannot be expected to pay for this crisis. The bosses must pay workers because for the past 3 years where we had a 3-year agreement, administered prices have been shooting up the roof. The cost of living for the working class is the working class on transport and everything else. There are workers who walk to work. About 20% of them, they can't afford today. The cost of living is too high. So that's how we will be approaching negotiation. And therefore, a strike, if it will happen, we don't control these things. It will really be the last resort.